Welcome to another episode of Is This for Kids? I am Jonathan Beard of Blevins, husband and father of 3, 1 on the way, and I think that most media is atrocious for children.
Children. And I'm Katie, MrsRuvi. I am a mother of 5. I'm also married. I like when you throw that in there, like somebody's from the 1860s judging you for being an unmarried father. Anyway, and I think most of the media that's marketed to kids could be redeemed with a good parenting conversation. But the point of this podcast is to kind of go over bits of content and let parents know what's in there that they might want to shield their kids from, what kind of conversations come up that they can't avoid, they're going to need to shepherd their kids through, and how they can use media to share in their kids' lives.
Moana 2 we're going to be talking about today. You are so excited. You loved this movie. You really want to share the plot and let people know what we're talking about.
So that's facetious, if you couldn't tell. Moana 2 is the story of Moana having found out in the first movie that her people were voyagers. She wants to pick up the mantle of a previous voyager. I forget the term that they use for him, but he's the guy who goes out and finds other peoples, trying to unite all of the peoples of the ocean. And Moana has taken on this mantle for herself, and she is going to go out and find all the other peoples of the oceans, and finds that in order to do this, she must raise this one island that had been hidden for all eternity by an evil god-type figure who doesn't want the peoples of the oceans to be united for reasons that are not made clear in the movie.
Yeah, also the bad guy you don't
appears.
See him.
Nope.
So in the beginning of Moana 2, there is Maui.
Mm-hmm.
Maui is captured by someone that he says hates humans. So in the beginning of the movie, there is a character, Matangi, who captures Maui and imprisons him. You later find out this is like in a giant oyster or clam.
Yeah, it looks like a bat cave, but it's not.
Yeah, and she's evil and hates Maui. But really doesn't, and then also
for no reason at all. That's been resolved.
Yep, and also hates humans.
Yep. Kind
of, but also then is very nice to Moana and ends up giving Moana advice that will later save her life.
Yeah, and helps her to unite all the humans. It's very...
So my kids thought she was the villain. And then they were like, is she the one who's controlling the storm at the end? No, that's someone different that you also never see. It's very weird.
So the reason for that, in case you missed all of the buzz surrounding Moana 2 was originally meant to be a Disney Plus TV show. It was supposed to be episodic. So you can clearly see this while watching. In the first episode, they hadn't quite pinned down whether or not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was going to be on the show. So Maui's off doing demigod things and isn't present for 30 minutes because that was episode 1. And then episode 2, they'd inked his contract. And so now he's been kidnapped by this villain person. And then episode 3, Moana goes in to save him from that villain person. And episode 4, that villain person's no longer a villain. We have to come up with a better overarching villain because we have now pivoted to a box office release to make more money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
So Disney Plus is not doing as well for Disney as they would have hoped. And so the shows that they're releasing out on Disney Plus, they're just not turning out as much money as they want, and they can get more money off a box office release, which wasn't the case 2-3 years ago when everybody was still a little COVID-y, right?
Yeah.
And so now they have given us a straight-to-video quality movie that is now the highest grossing animated film opening of all time.
No. Mm-hmm. Really?
It's appalling.
It was just okay. My kids liked it. My kids also don't go to the movies often, and we're just kind of excited that it wasn't super scary or super sad.
Yeah.
So my kids are the worst examples of whether or not a movie is actually good.
No, and that's the thing. My kids loved it as well, and they had no problems with it. This is completely a mom problem, but it's also a problem for kids' media in general, and we can go into that a little bit more if you want. But like when a film studio like Disney knows that they can make anything, no matter how bad it is, all they have to do is include the characters that your kid loves, then it'll be fun. Like Lin-Manuel Miranda did not do the music. The music is not commiserate all the way across. Like it's the Moana 1 soundtrack is incredible. 2, not at all. Like nothing memorable at all. Can you name a single song that they sang in that movie other than the one that reprises the first? They
reprise at the very, very end. They finally reprise one song, and no, I cannot.
Whereas Moana 1 had You're Welcome, like right. So many, I'm Shining. Everybody can name a song from Moana 1 off the top of their head. Not so much with this one. The animation quality is worse. And so basically we just told Disney, yeah, well, you can feed us garbage for our kids and we will happily consume it. Yep. And this is not just a sequel.
And spend $100 taking the kids and getting snacks.
And this is not just a sequels problem. They did Inside Out 2 beautifully. There was no disconnect in how well those movies were made.
Right.
And Frozen 2 had the same musical composer, had the same animation quality, had all the same characters. And they didn't invent zany sidekicks that showed up in Moana 2. These like weird, uncomfortable characters that felt very much like Jafar 2, Return of Jafar.
Yeah.
Like the weird, I hate that.
Yeah.
But your kids are they're gonna think it's fine. Is there anything in there you want to shield?
Well, I mean, not really. The storm at the end is so like my kids, 2 of the 3 of them, their biggest fear is like tornadoes and hurricanes. So that can be a little bit scary at the end. There's like 8 tornadoes that pop out of this thing, but not a huge deal. Even my kids who are scared of storms weren't that afraid of it. There is a lot of weird talk about death. Like that, you don't really get that in a lot of Disney movies where like, unless it's a joke or like there's like one moment, but multiple times Maui tells Moana and the other characters who have shown no courage at all throughout the entire thing. They're all kind of wimpy, scared.
Zany throwaway characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Maui tells them multiple times, you're all going to die. And it's not like funny, like it's like very serious. And so you kind of wait for it. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it yet, close your ears right now. But Moana ends up dying. And then becoming a demigod. And so but it's not very explicit that she's dead. It's very interesting how they handle the whole thing.
No, my 4-year-old understood that Moana died and has now for the entire last week, Moana's dead, Mom. Moana was dead. Moana died. Maui brought her back from the dead. Like, it was not lost on my 4-year-old child.
Other than those 2 things, so like not much to shield your kids from.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of language. Yeah, none of that.
No swearing, no drugs, no sex, no nudity, there's violence, but it's not like man-on-man violence.
Yeah.
So there's that. Shepherd,
Nope.
any conversations?
Nope. I have some share.
Okay.
But Shepherd, like, not really.
The only thing that I could come up with, because this was so bad, like it was just, and there was no great overarching theme because it was very clearly episodic. The only thing I come up with is that people are not meant to live alone, that you need other people to thrive. And so this would be a good conversation for a kid who's spending way too much time locked up in their room on the internet, maybe. You can say, look, like they say in Moana, but like by the time that's an issue, this is not a movie your kid's going to care about. So it's sort of a rough trying to transition that into a shepherd conversation. Well, how would you share in this with your kid?
Well, I just like there's some I like to relate. It's kind of adorable, this relationship that Moana has with her little sister Samea, I think is how you say it. And she's a hilarious, cute little character throughout the film. And she's very sad that her sister's going to leave, and then she gives her something to remember her by, and then like later she comes back. So there's something to be said about having conversations with your kid about a sibling who's going to go off to college or something, and walking through what that feels like, or a parent who might be in the military who like leaves. Like there's some type of beauty there in allowing a kid to have something in theater to relate to. But that was just kind of a cute thing I thought you could share with your kid.
No, that's absolutely huge. That was exactly what I took away as well. The sibling relationship there was adorable. My little 4-year-old does the big sis, and then my 11-year-old say little sis, and they run at each other, and it's really cute. If you're a parent who's currently in Moana years, like, you've got kids 10 and under that are really into this whole kind of thing, I just have some hope for you. There's like a little story about the whole thing. My oldest child is 16, so we are just coming out of the phase where she absolutely abhors her 11-year-old sister. Like, they just cats and dogs, the whole thing, all the time. And in the last couple of weeks, she has started saying, can we go pick up Millie early from school so she'll go with me to get boba tea? Like, she wants to hang out with her little sister now again. So like, you have those very little years where you've got a toddler and an 11-year-old who love each other. And then you're going to get yourself into these middle years where your kids only ever fight with each other. And you might think, my kids are monsters. They're never going to love each other. When are they ever going to have that relationship? And I honestly was like, it might be possible that my oldest and middle daughters never become friends.
Yeah.
And now we're on the other side.
Look at that. I love it.
It comes full circle. You're going to be okay. You're doing great, parents.
I love it.
Yeah.
What age did you say this is appropriate for kids?
All ages.
Yeah, all ages. It's totally fine.
It's just your kids deserve better. Don't watch it in the theater. If you
My daughter
already
had adorable questions about the movie. How did Maui get all his tattoos? Daddy, you have tattoos. How come you don't have as many as Maui? It was pretty awesome.
Mary draws tattoos on herself every time she watches Moana. She's like, I'm Maui. She just Maui's her entire being.
Funny.
Takes her shirt off. We're Mauiing it up all over the place.
I'm with we said all ages. I agree. Look at us agreeing on something.
There you go. Hey, If they liked this episode, where could they find other content like
Go
this?
to isthisforkids.com. We are everywhere that you can listen to podcasts. We're very active on our Instagram and YouTube. So like, subscribe, leave comments, all of the good things.
Yeah, share this on your Twitter, Instagram with all of your friends. And hey, there is just so much content out there for us to navigate as parents.
I'm Jonathan Beard Blevins.
I'm Katie, MrsRuvi. Let us help you decide.
Is this for kids?